Welcome to Moments with the Monsignor. I'm standing here at Calvary Cemetery and doing two things today. The first thing I want to do is to remind everyone about the annual Catholic Appeal. What you see behind me is a cemetery that's beautifully maintained. It's wonderfully kept up so that as families and friends and just plain people come through here, they can see a beautiful place that's the eternal resting place for so many of our Toledoans. You just saw two tombstones. One is Monsignor James O'Toole, and the other is Monsignor Barry O'Toole. They were brothers. They were from Immaculate Conception, one of my two parishes. And Father Barry obtained permission from the diocese to become a missionary. He went to China and he established the Catholic University of Beijing. He was there for many years before he returned to the United States to complete his priesthood here in the Diocese of Toledo. But when we stop and think about the priests who came out of this diocese and how generous they were in their ministry all around the world. As we move around Priest Circle, you'll see a couple of others. Just behind the O'Tooles is Father Timothy McCarthy. He was a pastor at Immaculate Conception Parish and had to face the reality of a church that burned down. What was he going to do? Was he going to close the parish, rebuild? Rebuilding would cost, in that day, a fortune. He chose to rebuild. And his health never recovered from the burden of trying to find the funding necessary to rebuild that church. We're just going to walk around a little bit here of Priest Circle, and I will mention some of the people that we are passing by, particularly those who either were pastors at Immaculate Conception or grew up there, or they were pastors at historic St. Patrick or grew up there. But many of these priests who are some of the most famous ones here in our diocese. For instance, here we have James Higginbotham. Jim was very concerned about social justice back in the period of the Depression. What we were going to do to help those many people who were thrown out of work, who lost their jobs, who were suddenly thrust into poverty. An issue we're facing today with the pandemic, putting so many people out of work. Monsignor Higginbotham came back and organized many programs to help the poor. I see many names here that I recognize that you may not. John Tennyson, a priest of the Diocese of Toledo, grew up here in the city of Toledo. When he retired, he had a little house over by Immaculate Conception and was very good about assisting and helping out at the parish there at Immaculate Conception. You'll notice that there are certain ethnic groups that are represented here in Priest Circle. The Irish, numerous Irish families came into the city. Many of the priests, after the Priest Circle filled in, were not able to get a lot here, and they're buried elsewhere in the cemetery. One of the other common names you'll see are the Slovaks and the Poles. They were extremely generous to the priesthood. And when we think about generosity to the priesthood, if I may make another pitch for the annual Catholic Appeal, that's what helps our seminarians work their way through the seminary and not have to worry about those colossal bills that young people accumulate going to college. Thanks to the kindness of the good people of our diocese, their education is covered by our diocese. Reverend Francis Keyes was one of the pastors at the Church of the Historic St. Patrick, and it was Father Keyes who put the cross on top of the steeple that fell off in the fire of when the lightning struck the church tower back in 1980. And Father Keyes was a pastor at the parish for many years. I'm just around the corner here. Otto Capus was a native son of Immaculate Conception. And he was, by the way, one of the first 5 priests ordained for the Diocese of Toledo. Believe it or not, his first assignment was Immaculate Conception in Toledo, Ohio. As you can see, he earned a PhD. He had a degree in education and English literature, and was truly a brilliant man. Died early. He was not very old when he passed away. As so often happened in that age, tuberculosis was one of those dread diseases. But this is Priest Circle. It looks as nice as it does because of the kindness of all of you people, men, women, who are supporting the annual Catholic Appeal. Over the years, having benefited from that myself for my own seminary education, for the advanced degrees that I have been able to earn to assist the people of the Diocese of Toledo in many, many ways, and to see to it that our tribunal down at the Pastoral Center operates efficiently and properly. Thanks to all of you. And I hope that you'll continue to be supportive of the annual Catholic Appeal, especially today. We find ourselves in troubled times economically, and the diocese is suffering as much as anyone else. If you have a spare dollar, that's fine. If you have a spare million, we'd appreciate that even more, but I suspect more of us will have that spare dollar. Please pray about it. Please assist us. And thanks for watching Moments with the Monsignor.